Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Keith's Hot Takes. I'm so excited to be here today. This will be the season finale of season one of my podcast. It's been a pleasure all season bringing you guys different topics and just having fun every week with my guests. So we're gonna end it right. I got a lot to talk about today. We're gonna talk about. I'm gonna recap the Mount Tabor and Richmond County game. I'm gonna talk about what happened with Shacarri Richards yesterday. Tebow time is over in Jacksonville. Which rookie quarterback will have the biggest impact this season? And we'll also talk about the NFL cracking down on taunting, unfortunately. And in my closing take, I'll be talking about will my Dallas Cowboys be bouncing back this season? And yeah, so let's go ahead and get to it. And we're going to start with sizzling headlines. So let's go ahead and drop that intro and get started. All righty. So Friday night, Mount Tabor took on 4A power Richmond County, and Richmond County won 56 to 41. I know you look at that score, you think it was close, but it really wasn't close at all. Richmond County was up 42 to 7 at halftime. Just really dominated Mount Tabor. And Mount Tabor came out in the second half. They fought. They didn't give up. It looked like Richmond County was playing a lot of backups in the second half, and that was what helped Mount Tabor get back in the game. I know Richmond's coach said they were dealing with cramps, but I also think he was trying to get some younger guys in the game. He thought the game was out of hand. He thought Mount Tabor was just going to roll over and quit. And, that's what most coaches would think when the team is up 35 points at halftime. So let's talk about what helped Richmond get that big lead at halftime. Well, in the second quarter, Mount Tabor had a fumble return for a touchdown and also a pick six for a touchdown. And the game was 7-7 going to the second quarter. And then Richmond just really started putting it on Mount Tabor with their defense. And on offense, Richmond, they just did whatever they wanted. Mount Tabor had a hard time tackling their guys, especially that quarterback, Keelan Hood. Let me see, had 139 yards passing, 129 on the ground. That was really one of the biggest differences in the game. On a lot of third downs, when the play would break down, he would use his legs. Mount Tabor couldn't wrap him up, tackle him. He would get big gains, and that was just backbreakers. And Mount Tabor, they just dug too deep of a hole. Now, they did cut it to 21, and then their quarterback, it was a miscommunication. His lineman went one way, he went the other way, and he got hit by two Richmond guys, and he fumbled. Richmond took it back to the house. That put Richmond up 28, and Mount Tabor never got, uh, you know, close again, really. They did cut it to 15, but Richmond was able to run the clock out. And so yeah, but hats off to Mount Tabor for not giving up, not quitting. Because most teams would have quit in that situation. You're down 42 to 7 at halftime. Uh, you know, like I said, most teams would have just quit and just got ready for next week. Just tried to run the clock out. But Mount Tabor, hats off to their young guys. They didn't quit. And two guys who had really big games in the second half. Noah Marshall, he had 18 carries for 162 yards and three long touchdowns in the second half. He really broke loose. Mount Tabor really dominated the line of scrimmage. Like I said, it looked like Richmond had mostly backups in the second half, so it's really hard to say if those stats really mean much. And Lance Patterson, he had 7 catches for 155 yards and two touchdowns. Uh, but when the starters was in the game for Richmond, they just mauled Mount Tabor like a bear, just mauling his prey. It was just really sad. And I remember one touchdown Richmond had where their guys just gave Mount Tabor's corner a mean stiff on him, and it was just like Mount Tabor was just too light in their back pockets. Uh, and it was just really bad. Richmond's manhandled Mount Tabor. At times during that first half, it looked like a JV playing a varsity. So Mount Tabor, they'll try to bounce back. next week against North Forsyth, rivalry game. They should win that game pretty big. And then for Richmond, they'll travel to another 4A power and Butler, Matthews Butler. But I think one thing that's going to work against Mount Tabor all season, they're a little inexperienced, and they just won the 3AA state championship. You're moving up to 4A, and when you win a championship, you're gonna get everybody's best shot every week. So every week they're gonna get everybody's best shot, regardless of how good the team is. They're gonna get up for playing Mount Tabor because Mount Tabor just won a championship, and I feel like Mount Tabor's gonna have a target on their back. But I expect them to get better and better as the season goes on, just because they're playing a lot of new guys, a lot of inexperienced guys, moving up a lot of guys who never played varsity before. So this team is young and they showed a lot of promise in that second half. So we just have to see. Like I said, they play North Forsyth next week, then they'll play Page to round out their non-conference schedule before they have a bye, and then they'll play one of their old rivals in West Forsyth to start the conference play. So I'm really intrigued to see how this Mount Tabor team rounds into shape going into conference play because they have a lot of talent on that offense, and it won't be hard for them to score points this season. So we just have to see if they can just really put it together. Because like I said, they just don't have a lot of experience. So we shall see. All right, now let's talk about what happened yesterday with Shacarri Richards. Unfortunately, as we know, yesterday in her first race since the Olympics, since the qualifying for the Olympics at the U.S. track and field qualifying in Eugene, Oregon, where she won uh, the race to qualify for the Olympics. She ran a 10.86 in that race to qualify for the Olympics. And then, she lost her mom and she failed a drug test, all that stuff. So yesterday was her first race since I think it was June 20th when she ran that race to qualify for the Olympics. And I fully expect her to come back. She just had a bad day. It happens. There's nothing we can do about that. Um, I want to give Elaine Thompson her air, her flowers. She's just been on a tear. I know yesterday during the broadcast, they said she finished third in the qualifying at the Jamaican Olympic trials, and ever since that, she's just been on a tear. She's killing it. She finished first place in the Olympics, and Jamaica, they had the top three spots yesterday. Uh, Shelly Fraser Price, she finished second. And yeah, so in case you missed the race for whatever reason yesterday, here we go. We're going to check it out, and you're going to see what went wrong with Shacarri Richards yesterday.
Said she didn't think that she would be nervous coming into this race, but wants to perform well, and she is sandwiched between the two greatest Jamaican sprinters ever.
And arguably two of the best ever. So before this race even starts, two 10.6s versus all these 10.7s never happened before in history.
Women's 100. And a good start for Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Thompson, hurrah! Richardson being left behind, and out in front, the Olympic champion does it again.
10.54. That is the second fastest time ever. Only Flojo has run better. And the Olympic champion reminds you why she is the twice now reigning Olympic champ. That was an amazing 100 meters. She made it look easy. No contest. What happened to Shacarri Richardson? So the Olympic podium comes to Pre and duplicates their finish there. Thompson hurrah first, Fraser Price second, Jackson third.
You see Elaine Thomas, her air, she just dominated. She ran a 10.54 in the 100-meter race yesterday. And for some reason, they thought it was going to be a good idea instead of interviewing Elaine Thompson, her air, they decided to interview Shacarri Richards after she finished in last place, and Shacarri gave it to us raw, uncut, and unfiltered. So let's hear what Shacarri had to say about what happened during the race. So here we go.
Came out here today to face these ladies from the Olympic Games.
Coming out today, it was a great return back to the sport. I wanted to be able to come in before, having a month off, dealing with all I was dealing with. I'm not upset at myself at all. This is one race. I'm not done. You know what I'm capable of. Count me out if you want to. Talk all the you want, because I'm here to stay. I'm not done. I'm the 6th fastest woman in this game ever. And can't nobody ever take that from me. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to the people that won, but they're not done seeing me yet. Period.
All right. Thank you, Shacarri.
So obviously very disappointing for Shacarri Richards. I just don't know if she's gonna be able to compete with those Jamaicans. I would love to see it, but as I'm sitting here looking at it, um, her Olympic time would have gotten her 5th place. That's just how fast everybody was running yesterday. Uh, Everybody in the top 4 ran under a 10.85. So yeah, I mean, we just have to wait and see if Sha'Carri can compete with the Jamaicans. I'm not gonna count her out. I know she's gonna bounce back and do excellent in her next meet. But I just these Jamaicans, they're the real deal. They're no joke. She's gonna have to pull off something special to compete with them. I was looking at a couple races that Sha'Carri did, and I noticed how she would always be stride for stride with everybody to begin the race, and then she would slowly pull away. But I just don't think she would be able to do that with the Jamaicans. So we shall see. So that does it for sizzling headlines. Now let's move on to talking about Tebow time being over in Jacksonville. So here we go. Alrighty, guys. So as we know, Tim Tebow was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars Monday. Uh, Basically, after their preseason game, Tim Tebow didn't look great at all. He was going to convert to a tight end, uh, but it just didn't pan out. Those blocks, he didn't look great trying to block somebody. It was really hard to watch. It was bad. So yeah, honestly, I don't think he should have got another chance. Um, Looking at it, he last played in the NFL in 2015 with the Eagles. And I remember, I think it was the Jets that wanted to like convert him to a tight end, but he thought he could still play quarterback. And I think he missed his blessing, thinking he was bigger than, playing tight end. I guess he thought he could still compete as a quarterback, but he missed his blessing, you know, thinking he was bigger than playing tight end. I think it would have been better for him if he had transitioned to playing tight end while he was still actively playing. Instead of he hadn't played since 2015, and that's a long time. And you're playing a position you never played before. I just didn't think this was gonna work out well. And when he didn't play special teams, I knew his time wasn't gonna be long in Jacksonville. So yeah, like I said, I hate he took an opportunity from somebody who really deserves it and somebody that could have helped the Jacksonville Jaguars because I've never heard of any of their tight ends on their roster. So it would have been better for them if they could have got somebody that could actually help their team and not sign Tim Tebow because he's really close to Urban Meyer and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how Jacksonville addresses their tight end position. But Tim Tebow, I just don't think he was the answer. We're going to use him as was like a Taysom Hill, where you give him the ball on a direct snap or something like that. And, you come up with a special package of plays for him and, work him in that way. But when they didn't do that and they tried to make him play actual tight end, I knew it wasn't going to work out. So, Yeah, so now let's talk about the NFL cracking down on taunting. So they have informed game officials to strictly enforce the taunting rules. So under the league's new plan, that means no spiking, no spinning the ball, no pointing the ball or a finger, verbally taunting, standing or stepping over an opponent for too long or in a way that provokes them, gestures that simulate handcuffs will be considered taunting as outlined in their memo that they sent to all 32 teams. Ah, I'm not a big fan of this. Football is a game with a lot of emotions. You're gonna talk. You're gonna have emotions. You're gonna talk some noise at people. You're gonna make gestures at people. And for players not to even be able to use the handcuffs, like when you lock somebody up on a play, it just seems like the NFL, they just don't want the players to have any fun. Like a couple years ago when they cracked down on the celebrations, it's like, what are you doing? You got to look at your target audience and what they would want. This is a part of football. What are we doing here? Not letting guys show raw emotion. Like I remember I was watching the Colts and Panthers game last week, and the running back who may not make the team, he had a big run, was carrying people, and then he gets up and he's making gestures and stuff like that. He gets flagged for it. I'm like, come on, bro. The guy's showing raw emotion. He just carried guys for 8 to 10 yards, and he can't show emotion. I hate it. This is unnecessary. The NFL, I don't know what they're doing. Looks like they're trying to make games longer. I don't know. But it's just I don't like it at all. And I think the NFL just needs to stay out of the way and let guys show emotion, have fun. And yeah, it's football. So why are you trying to take the emotion, the passion out of the game? I don't understand. It's so weird to me. So hopefully games don't take 4 hours because of all these taunting penalties. But we shall see. Our second to last topic on the season finale today is which rookie quarterback do I think will have the biggest impact this season? I wanted to go with Justin Fields so bad, but looking at the Bears yesterday, it is looks like they're a hot mess, especially up front. Their offensive line is just really bad. They got manhandled and punked yesterday by the Bills front. And Justin Fields, he just got killed yesterday. Didn't have a really good day. The protection wasn't that great. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to showcase his true abilities. He didn't get to, showcase like he did in week one. Had a really good showing, 2 touchdowns, led them to a comeback. But they just got down too much. And by the time he got in the game, it was no way he was going to bring them back. So I went with Trey Lance. Just for the simple fact of all the talent that the 49ers have, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Mohamed Sanu, uh, Trey Sherfield, and to top it off, he has the best offensive coordinator. He has the best guy calling plays for him in Kyle Shanahan. So I don't think Jimmy G will be able to hold that starting position long. Trey Lance is going to be special. And I really think that the 49ers, they're just a quarterback away from competing in the NFC. They play in the toughest division in football, and the NFC West is loaded with the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks. So uh, I can't think of a more tougher division than that division. So with that defense, I think they need to just go ahead and start Trey Lance, especially if they want to go ahead and compete for division titles, championships, all that. Uh, Trey Area, that's what the broadcasters were screaming when he had that long touchdown last week. So I think he's the answer in San Francisco, and I think they should just go ahead and start in week one. And I think they'll be much better off if they start him over Jimmy G. So, yeah. Alrighty, guys, to close out my show today, uh, I'm going to talk about will my Dallas Cowboys bounce back this season? after having a injury-filled season last year, losing Dak Prescott, and just dealing with all type of injuries up front. Definitely think we'll bounce back this year. If Dak can stay healthy, if our offensive line can stay healthy, if our defense can play better. I'm loving what I'm seeing from our young guys, Micah Parsons, Kelvin Joseph. He's shown flashes, and Keanu O'Neal. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. He's a thumper. I love that fumble he had last week against the Cardinals. I like him and Micah Parsons. I think that's going to be a scary linebacker duo. So I think if Dak can stay healthy, our offensive line can stay healthy, if Zeke can return to form, I really and if our defense, the biggest key is can our defensive line get pressure on the quarterback? Can we force turnovers? And can our secondary be much better than they were last year? We need to be much better against the run because teams were just running it down our throat last year. So I'm excited to see if all the improvements we made to this defense will help us. Adding Dan Quinn, hopefully we can get our swagger back and being a special type of defense. So I definitely think we'll win the division, and I'm hoping we can make a run at the Super Bowl this year if all goes well. So I'm really excited about the season, and hopefully Dak, his shoulder is okay. Uh, you never really know because I think they don't want to cause too much panic in the fan base, especially with him just signing that new deal. He's getting paid all that money. I think that's why they're trying to be really hush hush and down low with what's really going on with Dak. I didn't really want him to play in the preseason because I didn't really think he needed the preseason reps. I think he'll be ready to go September 9th against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, yeah, I'm just really excited about this season, and I can't wait to see what this offense is going to look like if Dak can stay healthy for a whole season because I think it's going to be top 5 in the league. So, yeah, I'm just really excited. Like I said, hopefully this defense can bring that swagger back and playing like the Hot Boys. So, yeah, we shall see. Alrighty, guys, that does it for Keith's Hot Takes. I had a blast season 1 of my podcast. I want to thank all my guests that came on and made my show special. I can't wait to bring season 2 of my podcast to you guys. I haven't set a date for it yet, but it'll be in the spring of 2022. And my regular show, Keith's Hot Takes, it comes out. The first episode of season 4 will be September 8th. I'll be dropping the trailer soon for that, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you have your notifications on for my YouTube channel. That way you'll be one of the first people to watch it when it drops. I haven't set a date on it, but I'm gonna start working on it this week. It may drop this week, may drop sometime next week, but I'm really excited about that. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna bring some new stuff to season 4, so you'll find out more about that when the trailer drops. But yeah, man, it's just been fun doing the podcast because we've talked about everything from Black Lives Matter to Space Jam to All American. We just talk about anything on the podcast, and where my show is just we talk about football, some of the top college football and basketball games, some of the top local high school games. We preview all that on my regular show, but on the podcast, you never know what we're going to talk about on a weekly basis. So I can't wait to bring season 2 to you guys, like I said, in the spring of 2022. And we'll do it bigger and better next year. That does it for Keith's Hot Takes, season 1. I'm signing out, and I'll see you guys again September 8th.
If you smell what the rock is cooking.